appreciate you so much. I am your host today, of course, for the podcast. I am Dee Shields, the podcast. And look, we're about to have a conversation. It really is impromptu because today is not the podcast. Yesterday, I gave you the podcast. So I hope that you did take a listen to episode 38, 138. I'm getting all lost in my different episodes, but episode 138 for the I Am Dee Shields show. So if you're not listening to the others, please go and do so. More Tea with D, Honey and I, Real Talk Reborn, and Lyrics Breakdown. All available wherever you listen to your podcasts. Okay, so I appreciate that. Now listen, let me bring you guys in on the reason why we're talking about respect today. Okay, so let's just tell the story. First, let's just tell the story. After we tell the story, then I will go ahead and bring you back to the lesson, okay? So still get out your notebook and your journal. Still do things the way that we do things here. It's just that I'm a little impromptu with this one. So I am going to have to make sure that I stay on task with making this a lesson. All right, let's make this a lesson. All right. So here's the deal. Here's what happened. I am the type of person that I give respect in order to get respect. I particularly care for directly giving people respect, and that same individual, because I met you at respect, then you turn around and you meet me at respect, right? But I also am a believer in the things that karma will do for you. And karma is just like one of these things that if you will just do right by people, karma will show up and take care of you, right? So if you do right by others, then whatever it is that you're doing, it may not come from that particular person, but guess what? You will get that kind of respect everywhere you go. And because that by the majority happens, it usually knocks me off a little bit when something happens and I'm like, this is one of those things that I feel like if I do not teach these lessons, there are going to be so many people getting themselves into situations that you do not have to get yourself into, right? A more serious situation happened in the news where a lady was going on and on and on, and the person was so tired of the racial disrespect at the store that they punched her and she fell back and was knocked all a loop, because there are going to be some things that are going to happen in your life. If you do not listen to people tell you how to do it a better way, you're going to find yourself just like that lady knocked up against the Big Lots window or Family Dollar, whatever it was, looking confused, trying to figure out what to do with her phone because he just smacked the smash out of her. Now, listen, it's not okay to go around slapping people, but it's not okay to go around acting like you don't understand the lessons of respect either. Okay? So here's the incident that happened. My sister happened to call me when I was on the airport shuttle. And I was on the phone. So I'm just kind of multitasking because it's a busy area. So you're just kind of not really focusing. I have a lot of things that I know that I need to get done. And I need to get it done in a fast manner and just kind of get to where I'm focused on that and not having to deal with someone who should have been taught a lesson by their mother or their auntie or their grandmother or whoever it is that they have in their life. And so because I have to stop my life and teach lessons like that, that just knocks my whole day off sometimes because I've already raised all three of my children and they know what not to do. So it just always bothers me when I run into adults who it seems like no one raised you. Right? Like you guys like to be focused on, who didn't teach you how to wear Gucci and Coach, and who didn't teach you how to drive a Mercedes and drive an Escalade? Been there, done that. Those are not the things that I feel like are imperative in life. How to behave around others, how to talk to others, how to treat others, how to show respect. Those are the things that I feel like matter more in life, right? So when I talk about upbringing, I really go into behavior more than I go into anything else when it comes to respecting others. I don't tell people who to love. I do not tell people how to love. I tell people how to treat people better so that when you learn how to do this, then you can take these lessons and karma will follow you. Good karma will follow you all the life that you live, right? But if you're going to sit up here and ignore it, you're going to frustrate people and get yourself embarrassed, which is what happened to this lady today. Now, I understand that when I'm walking around and I'm doing things and I'm by myself, things move differently, right? I'm just a cute girl walking around doing whatever it is that I do with no worries, and no one really tries to test me. But when this power couple, when they're together, and this gorgeous hunk of dunk of shit, I'm sorry, that's not the way to speak about the man that you love. When this gorgeous man is with you, people are so caught up in looks that they don't know how to respect people because they're so caught up in what somebody does for their eyes. And I think it's just so distracting. I'm not saying that the man is not good looking, good Lord knows. The way my lay low spread wide is with him, that yes, I agree with all of y'all on that. But when I am on my busy day, I don't need this Negro looks getting in my way, right? So, but that tends to happen. And that's just when you get one of these moments, teachable moments, that I have to put out there. Probably hilarious to some, but I have to do what I have to do, because sometimes I feel like, D, if you don't say it, them hoes ain't never read into no hoe that's never told them. Not they grandma hoe, mama hoe, auntie hoe, nobody in the hoes they know ever told them. So you're going to have to stop everything you're doing and teach another hoe. You know, it's exhausted, right? So this privileged lady, a stewardess, right? She's privileged as hell. So she sees that I'm busy. Now, I have the conversation several hours later because I needed to continue doing what I was doing. So I waited to have the conversation with my man about it. So I had the conversation later, and I just addressed, well, what was it even about, love? You know, so he says, oh, babe, you know, no, I'm not going to do that. Okay. But he's like, oh, babe, the lady has said she really like your shirt. Now, granted, my ladies, and granted, my fashionistas, I am wearing a basic Levi's shirt. Levi's white tee with some black leggings. Okay? I'm just relaxed as relaxed can be. So I get it. But it wasn't Gucci. It wasn't Halle Berry wore it on the red carpet. It wasn't, oh my God, did you see her in that? It wasn't that kind of an outfit for what this lady ended up sparking a disrespectful conversation. And the reason why it was disrespectful was less, as I taught him earlier, about the words that she was saying and more about the lack of respect actions that took place. So he says, I say, lover, what was the conversation about? And he tells me a few hours later, oh, babe, she had said she was trying to get your attention, but you were on the phone and you were talking to your sister. She was trying to get your attention to tell you that she liked your shirt. So I said, oh, okay. You know, when you having one of them simplistic conversations with your man, you have to come down and go simplistic. So I said, oh, okay. But what the hell did that have to do with anything? Okay. That's what I want to know. Because when I finished my conversation, they were still calculating it up, apparently, about this wonderful, basic-ass Levi's shirt that I have on. So, but men give simplistic answers, so you teach simplistic lessons, right? So he turns around and tells me that that's what was being said. So he's like, well, I don't understand. No, what she did that was so disrespectful. You can't, because you a man and y'all come from Mars. And God ain't had nothing to do with anything that's on Mars. So I understand that you do not understand where I am coming from, because that's the way you guys were created when you were dropped on this thing that our Shiro calls Earth. Okay? So I understand that you are confused. But I'm going to help you. Because I would just hate for this disrespectful moment to happen again. And I have to go upside your head. Because we didn't already had this conversation. And so I slap you. And then that get all nasty and disrespectful. And that goes in another direction, right? So let's just break this down point by point. Ladies, with your disrespectful, your mama was a hoe, grandma was a hoe, sister was a hoe. If you don't know this lesson, assholes. If you do not know that when you walk up on a couple and you see that one half of the couple, and fellas, this is for you as well, one half of the couple is busy on her phone or his phone, you need to pause whatever you felt was so important. Unless it's to say, hey, I'm trying to pull that person, they were about to attack you. You can talk to me about that. That's important information. You can have a conversation. You could tell me, I was just trying to get your attention because there was someone about to attack you. That's favorable conversations with D. But when we see that I'm busy and preoccupied, and you have the audacity to stop your whole existence to begin a conversation with my man, apparently about my basic ass Levi's shirt. I'm not calling y'all basic Levi's, but I'm just saying, this ain't nothing to just, if my breast was popped out or something, I got the kind of chest that make everybody stop, right? So I get that, but this ain't that. This is just a basic t-shirt going on, right? It's nothing to stop a person's man over. I promise you, I'm gonna send y'all a picture. It's not anything to stop a person's man over. Okay? So she says this, conversation about whatever. So then I don't even realize, until I kind of caught what was going on. Hey sis, I'm gonna call you back. Give you a call back later. I hang up with my sister. Because you don't want to bring your drama into somebody else's world, right? So I don't want to be on the phone and then start cutting up. But I really don't like when people do me that way. So I don't want to be that person that I may have to cut up on this girl. So in case that happens, let me hang up on you, because I'm not one of those pull phones out to record a situation. I got to handle the situation. I'll just tell y'all verbally how it went down, right? Because me and my phone are the last things I'm thinking about when I got to put people in their place, right? So I hang up my phone. And I take off my sunglasses and I put them on my head. So I turn around and look at her, and I gave her the black girl magic. Dee be hitting her with the black girl magic look. You guys have seen that look I do on my TikTok, right? So, Dee Shields 1, go follow me on TikTok. So I hit her with the black girl magic, and she stops. Now, you would think that because this conversation is about this amazing shirt that your woman is wearing. Oh my God. I just wanted to tell your woman about this shirt. So since it was about the shirt, when I turned around to look at you, you should have said, hi, lady, looking at me and I'm talking to your man. I love your shirt. But Becky didn't do that. So what Becky did was looks like the I just got caught look, and then a look of shock happens, and then she looks at the ground, and she looks back at the fine man who that was going well until this chick got off the phone, and then she looks back at me and turns around, and suddenly she's busy, and she have nothing else to say. So I was like, So honey looked at me and he was like, hey, you look that men do. Babe, what happened? What happened? Y'all can see my face right now. So I was like, I don't feel like doing that either. You know how when you're just in one of those moods, you don't even want to do that. So I don't feel like doing that either. So I tell him, I literally just said to my man these words, and that's all I said. And then I did a post on Facebook, and you can go read what I put on Facebook. So I literally turned around to my man and I said, he said, what happened? Why you take my little Becky toy away? That's the look he had. So I said, I looked at this man. I looked him dead in his eye. I said, bitch. I'm sorry, I knew I was going to do that. Key and Peele moment. It went over most of your heads if you have no idea what I just did. So anyway, so I looked him, I looked at him and he's like, what happened? And I said, black girl magic. And I put my sunglasses back on. I went to Facebook, made my post. You guys responded underneath there. You are hilarious. That was funny watching Iris Baker and Jean and Keisha. Y'all had me crying. So, but I'm literally like, I just looked at him and said, black girl magic. So he looked like he was so confused. So he just kind of looked at his phone, but then he was like, you could see him just still, I could feel him at the corner of my eye. I could feel him. He's still looking. And I just said, And I just kept going. So it was about 3 hours later when I explained to him what happened, when we got in a more relaxed moment. And he was just still in like, what? Men can't follow. They do not follow, right? They do. They like to play crazy too. But he couldn't follow how I dealt with it. So Becky, she scattered on her way and did whatever she did. She got pilots to lay up with and, mile high miles to catch up with. She doing what she do all day, every day, because she's a stewardess, right? So I'm not saying that that's what stewardess do, but this particular hot ass one does. So she do what she does. She went on about her way. But I'm looking like, there's a lesson in this, and that's when I put the post up and told you guys I'm going to teach you the lesson. So for those of you who did not have anyone in your life to teach you how to be around couples, I am going to teach you this one thing, right? Be you. Dress sexy. You'll hear a lot of women say, oh, don't dress like that around my man. That ain't something D got an issue with, right? You wear a whole thong. That's your thong and your ace. That don't have nothing to do with that. Never. It's not going to move me. Men are going to look at thongs anyway, whether they look at yours or the next, right? So that doesn't move me. But baby, when it comes to the words that come out of your mouth, when you approach a couple, you speak to the woman. I had this conversation with him. I said, babe, and I listed all our couple friends. And I was like, when we're over and I go visit so-and-so, if we travel and go visit this person, if I go to this person, who do I speak to first? And he started naming the girlfriend, the wife, the fiance, the girlfriend, the wife, the fiance. Why am I that way? Because I hope it's this little basic lesson that I was taught by phenomenal women in my life, that this little basic lesson will show you respect for others' connection, right? You's a whole asshole, and I get there, and this whole ass men out there for you to go run up on. But when you come up on a couple, especially somebody that's like me, and I'm not that whole asshole that you are. I'm that chick that goes 6 years single. I'm that chick that if I meet someone and I'm dating them, I date that one person throughout the years. If I'm meeting someone and I connect with that person, I date that one person. Sometimes when I'm single and I want to have a one night stand, I'll do that once every other year. I'm not the hoe like you. I'm not built like some of you, majority of you hoes out there. So I'm a different person. So when you approach a queen, because you guys have never walked up on a queen. So when you approach a queen, you're going to approach her with full respect. You can act like this Negro don't even exist if you want to. And even if you say, hey, Dee, how are you? I just wanted you to know that I want to jump Brent Bones. Girl, I'm going to respect that movement. Because I'm going to be like, girl, catch him on a hall pass day. I'm going to say something funny and we're all going to kiki ha ha, right? And if you get too out of line, I'm going to slap you across your face, girl. You're going to be fine. Get the little black eye taken care of it. Everybody going to go back to laughing and having drinks, right? But you approached me. So because you did that, I can have full respect for your movement. But when you approach a couple, the lesson, so I can get back on topic with this impromptu podcast. Listen, the lesson, don't walk up on people and just speak to whoever you feel like speaking to. That's not how that goes. Show some respect. Speak to either both. Speak to one, speak to the other, then acknowledge the other. Don't just go kiki cackling and pulling that person off to the side on a conversation. That's disrespectful. Now, granted, he didn't go that far. He was like, but babe, she just said, and I happen to think that the shirt is wonderfully approached on your breast and bosom, and it looks amazing as well. I don't know what that Negro had to say. All I'm saying is, I get that whole nonchalant, but me and you have some responsibility and some lessons in this that you should already know as well, right? But this is for the women, so let's stay with the women. So learn how to approach people with respect. You don't just start chopping it up with somebody and have the audacity to be saying, I'm talking only to your man about this shirt that you are wearing. Girl, go sit down somewhere. Go sit down somewhere. Go sit on 5 pilots. That's how I feel about that, right? So she's a stewardess. I think that's why I'm picking on him. But listen, that was disrespectful. So the lesson is, if you're not catching the lesson, because some of you basic people always tell me, well, what was the lesson, Dee? I got so lost. You had so many sidebars. I didn't know what you were saying. Here, basic-o, what I'm saying is, when you are approaching someone and they are in a relationship and you like a shirt, tell that hoe you like that shirt and not her man. Now, is that basic enough? Is that clear enough? Good, I can go back to my sidebar. So that was just hilarious. And I love the look on Honey's face when he was like, after I said, he was like, what happened? What in the innocent? I so innocent. I don't know what can happen. Look. And I just said, black girl magic. But why does that matter that I said that? So, okay, my friends and people in my circle, you know what that is? That's growth. I didn't go off on anybody. I didn't check the situation at the time of. I didn't put Becky in her place and read her 9,000 rights. I tend to read people 9,000 rights in less than 60 seconds. Right? Like, if you really, really, really tick me off, I can tell you in 60 seconds about all the things that shouldn't have happened from the day you were born into the moment that you're disrespecting me in my face. But I didn't do that. I didn't do that. I call that growth. I call that D. You handled that. That was some real black girl magic. I pat myself on the back, gave myself a hand, because it was an amazing moment for me. So it may not matter to you, but I hope if you can get something from this, that you will share it with that one hoe who she can't seem to understand the lesson every Sunday at church. Share it with that one hoe who disrespects you guys every time you guys go out at couples dinner. Share it with that one single hoe that always bringing her ass single to the barbecue like she can't get no date. I don't care who you share it with, but make sure that you share it, especially if you feel there is a lesson in it all. All right? So that's all that I have. And I hope you guys you received something fun out of it, because I always want you to have fun. But I hope you have received a lesson as well. Stop being disrespectful. Right? I could talk about another situation that's in the media and highlighted right now, where a woman has definitely broken girl code and been disrespectful. But I have something coming up on that on the scheduled podcast, More Tea with Dee. So please make sure that you are tuned into the podcast. I'll be back with something fun again another time. Very seldom that I do fun, because I usually try to stick to the lessons. But you guys, I am coming back to do some oil from my alabaster box serious podcast. And I have something that I wanted to share with the new listeners who do not know my story. So I wanted to kind of share that story and give you that speech. And that's coming up in a few hours. But I had to get this one because it was thrown into the day, right? So I had to share it with you. And as always, I keep telling you guys, everything that we go through, live in this day. Because everything that we go through, there is a teachable moment. There is a teachable moment either for self. For me, the teachable moment was like, girl, your growth is on 1,000, right? Like, you didn't slap nobody. You didn't curse out nobody. You didn't go off on nobody. You didn't make him uncomfortable by having any words. Like, I just was like, black girl magic. And I was at peace with that. So that meditation is doing is business. And I'm very proud of that. But yeah, so it's a teachable moment in everything that you go through, whether it's for yourself or for others. So I had to share it, hoping that to help someone, that you're better off not going off on your man, but just sitting back and taking that moment and finding out, how could I take this and make this a teachable lesson. Now, if you don't have a podcast, but you have a teachable lesson moment that you want to share with me, DM me. I'm on socials. I am Dee Shields. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Send me a messenger message. Dee Shields page. Please follow the new Dee Shields page. Send me a message and tell me your story. I'll get the lesson out there to the listeners for you. So I appreciate you guys. I'll be back in a few for the Life Story podcast I'm going to share with you guys. I have fun with this one. Tell your friend to tell another friend to tune in to I Am Dee Shields, the podcast.